Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Tonight we're going to be looking at Robocop 3 on the Commodore Amiga. Now, Robocop has some very fantastic memories for me. I remember seeing this game at a friend's house in about 1992, I think probably a weekend. Went over, played a few video games, and it just got Robocop 3, and it was absolutely fantastic. I remember walking into his room, and he had this thing on screen. It was booming out of his Sony TV or whatever it was, slightly bassy, and it sounded fantastic. I loved the game. I was hooked there and then. There are many other games that we used to play back in the day, but Robocop 3 is a very special one. It may not be the fastest game, it may not be the most beautiful game, but what it is extremely well made. It has a fantastic soundtrack, fantastic music, and it is awesome, in my humble opinion. Now, as you can see before me, I have a boxed copy of Robocop 3. This is for the Commodore Amiga. I would guess the Atari version is the same, but I don't know. We have a nice glossy manual with maps of the town, instructions on which keys to press, the story, and basically the objective of which particular scene you're playing in the game. Whether it be the driving section at the start, the 3D, pseudo 3D, which reminds me a little bit of Die Hard, but I don't know why it does, but it does. When you're walking through the whatever, I'm not even sure what it's supposed to be. I think it's a hostage situation anyway. Shoot the baddies, save the hostages. Then there's the gyroscope rocket pack thing, gyrocycle I think it was called, section. There's what else is there? There's some ridiculous ninja section. I don't think I ever played that. But you can play the game in two ways. You can play it as an adventure game, or you can play it as the movie game. If you play as the movie game, it plays through scenes of the film in sequence, starting from the driving section and concluding with the ninja fight at the end, which is a little bit naff, to be honest. But the game itself is fantastically made. It is beautiful to look at. The sound is fantastic. The music is awesome. It's just a great game, and I love it. I have a deep affection for Robocop. Now I'm going to show a little bit of in-game footage so you know what we're talking about. There's a little bit of video footage from the film. I've never seen the film. I don't care about the film. In fact, nobody cares about the film. It was awful. But the game's awesome. Go get it. Go play it. It is superb. So when was it released? I think the film was released in 1993. It was a complete flop and killed the franchise for another 20 years. Now, the game was a roaring success. It was a great game. The film, like I say, was 1993, and the game, I think, was... Let me see, I'll do a little bit of research. The game was released in December 1991 for the Amiga and ST. Other versions followed from the ZX Spectrum, the Sega Mega Drive version, and the Game Gear and the SNES, and so on and so forth. The Amiga version and the Atari ST are 3D with intro sections, little video clip sections, and it's excellent. The other versions really didn't fare so well. They're very much like Robocop 2 and Robocop 1. They're more side-scrolling affairs. Now, Robocop 3 on the Amiga interestingly came with a little dongle that had to be plugged into the joystick port. Now, this dongle thing really was an anti-piracy device, which I don't know how it worked, if I'm honest. I don't really want to pull it apart and break the plastic, but you know, I might have a look online and see if I can find some pictures of what's in there. I would imagine that it's probably just a resistor, and the Amiga somehow measures the resistance on the joystick port. If it's there, it thinks the device is there, and away you go. I may be completely wrong, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's something like that. So this is the box, pretty good condition. The discs, I haven't tried the disc yet, I don't really need to, but I probably will, and I'll try the dongle as well. I'm quite interested to see if it works, and what it does if you take the dongle out. But like I said, I haven't tried yet, but I will at a later date. So here we are, we're protecting the innocent, upholding the law, and serving the public trust, or at least something like that. It's a great game. Like I say, I'll put some video game footage in here as well so we can see it working. But Robocop is one of those, to me, it's a standout title from the Amiga. in so much as it's the first machine that I saw Robocop on, and if you had an ST or an Amiga, that was the platform of choice to see this game. If you had a 64 or a Spectrum or whatever it was, then it's just a side scroller, very much like Robocop 2. Not much to talk about, not very interesting. Now the 3D sections on the Amiga and ST versions were based on a flight simulator by Digital Image Design, and I think they worked on what did they have? It was an updated engine that was developed with F29 something or other. I forget now what it was, but it did remind me at the time of a flight simulator, and I didn't really know why. Now I do know why. It's because it was based on F29 Retaliator, was it? I think it was. A game that had come out a little while before. Now, of course, Digital Image Design then started work on TFX, again with Ocean, but unfortunately that was never released as Commodore went bankrupt. But if you look on Aminet, you can find TFX. If you've got a 68060, you can actually get it working. I should really try it on the Vampire with AGA and see how that works. But anyway, that is the box copy of Robocop 3D, one of my favourite games. I know a lot of people don't like it, but to me it has a very special place. It's one of those games that really showed off the graphics, the sound, the music, everything about the Amiga that was good. The gameplay may be a little bit clanky, but to me it was a showstopper and really reinforced my decision on buying an Amiga back in those days. It was the right choice looking back. No machine could have done that. I can't really imagine a 286 PC doing that in VGA. Possibly a 386 could with some pretty poor sound, but anyway. That's it for me. Thank you very much. Have a good night and happy Easter, and I'll see you in the next video when that comes around. Bye for now.